The human concept of swearing, or cursing as it's commonly referred to by my viewers from across the pond, has always been something that has somewhat perplexed me. I mean, I find it strange that as a species the majority of us can all agree on certain words which we deem offensive, yet rarely do we ask the question why we have decided these words are so much worse than the rest of the vocabulary that we regularly use. With that in mind, I should point out that no, I'm not going to be examining the history of swearing in this video, despite this rather philosophical opening. Instead, I just wanted to let you know that as a subject I find swearing to be kind of intriguing, which is why I want to take a look at the context in which it's used in The Walking Dead in a bit more depth. Now you're probably sitting at home scratching your head thinking to yourself, Josh, what the hell have you been drinking to cause you to make a video based upon this idea? Well, please allow me to explain. The other day I was thinking about my favourite episodes of The Walking Dead, and I began to reminisce about what I consider to be some of the show's best scenes. One of the scenes that popped into my head was the moment at the end of the season 4 finale when Rick and his group have just been forced into one of Gareth's storage carts. Little did I know that because I watched this episode on DVD when I was binging through the first 4 seasons, the ending I witnessed was slightly different than the ending that aired on TV. And to illustrate this, I'm going to show you a clip of the ending that features on the season 4 home release, and then immediately after the TV version. So here we go.
They're gonna feel pretty stupid when they find out. Find out what? They're fucking with the wrong people. Find out what? They're screwing with the wrong people.
Now I don't know about you, but for me the first clip is just so much better. Which is strange when you think about it because the only real difference is that Rick uses the word fucking instead of screwing. But the effect this one word has on the scene itself is massive. Rick dropping the F-bomb makes me think that he really means business, a lot more so than when he says screwing. In addition, by having Rick swear at this moment in time, it feels like he is displaying more raw emotion, even though in reality his mannerisms are pretty much the same in both scenes. See, the thing is, although I'm sure we all differ in how often and when we swear, most people resort to swearing when their emotions reach boiling point, and it's why we often use profanity when we are annoyed or angry. However, although cursing is commonly associated with these two previously mentioned states, it can also be used to express extreme happiness or joy. In fact, Time.com quotes a professor at the University of California who suggests that swearing is commonly used to convey the intensity of the emotions a person is feeling, be these emotions good or bad. He also goes on to state that we as humans instantly react to hearing other people swear and pick up on these subtle clues. Therefore, I guess you could attribute this reasoning as to why I experienced a much more adrenaline-fueled reaction from hearing Rick tell his group that Gareth and his crew were fucking with the wrong people, rather than when he said they were screwing with the wrong people. When used correctly, I believe swearing can actually have a positive impact on the viewer. However, if it's overused, you could make the argument that it does actually lose some of its impact. I recently had a comment on a video I made a while back about Negan, and the comment suggested that swearing all the time is not intimidating. Unfortunately, I can't find this comment, otherwise I would have taken a screenshot for the video, but let me quickly give this comment some context. In said video, I remember saying that a big part of Negan's character is lost in a TV show due to the show's refusal to have characters say anything worse than bitch or shit. Now, I don't specifically remember saying that swearing makes comic Negan more intimidating, but hey, there is a possibility that I did. This video is almost a year old, so I don't really have a clue what I did or didn't say at the time. Anyway, I think the point the user was trying to make is that because comic Negan swears almost constantly, the profanity he uses loses its effect somewhat. So essentially, you could argue that if Rick and every other Walking Dead character on the TV show were saying fuck every 5 minutes, I don't think we would really associate it with being something one would say when they were really angry or excited, as it would just become the norm, and we wouldn't really think too much into the language they use as representing anything significant. I recently watched through Fear the Walking Dead's first 3 seasons, and there's a moment in the 3rd season when Nick spots a massive herd of walkers heading towards his camp. During this moment, the camera focuses on his face for a second, and what does he say? Now, although granted Nick does swear more than some of the characters on The Walking Dead's 2 TV shows, it still isn't like he does it constantly, and for him to use the word fuck in this situation, well, you know that shit just got serious. Bad things are coming, Nick is freaked and spooked, and all it takes for him to convey this message to the viewers is the use of one simple word. I would argue that it's because Nick doesn't swear a huge amount that when he does actually swear you know something is a pretty big deal. In comparison, were Comic Negan to say fuck, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. In fact, he probably just says this the first thing every day when he wakes up in the morning. Whilst on the topic of Comic Negan, I think the creators have him swear so frequently to illustrate that he is childish and juvenile rather than in an attempt to make him look intimidating. I found that from my own personal experience working for years in customer service dealing with difficult members of the public on a daily basis, that a lot of people resort to swearing when they can't really think of a good argument to put across. I mean, you only have to look at some of the dumb YouTube comments that I and nearly every other YouTuber gets to see that people start resorting to throwing swear words here, there and everywhere when they can't really form a cohesive argument. And that's pretty much why I don't really swear a lot in my videos, well, apart from this one, because most of my videos are based around me trying to make a cohesive argument. I try to present my thoughts in an intelligent way, and I think that if I came into a Walking Dead review video swearing every 5 seconds, I don't think anyone would be able to take it seriously. So ironically, even though swearing is described as a mature adults only language, a lot of people like to use it in a very childish way. Which is why I think it works for Negan in the comics. I mean, come on, this guy says fuckity fuck fuck about 5 times in one speech bubble. What more proof do you need to realise that he's almost like a teenager who only swears constantly because he thinks it is cool? Both the TV version and the comic book version of Negan are pretty dumb characters if I'm brutally honest. But Comic Negan's childish use of profanity to me actually makes him more likeable, because it helps to embrace the dumbness of a guy who walks around wearing a leather jacket all year long whilst talking to a baseball bat. So we've established that swearing can be a good thing if used correctly, but how does both the Walking Dead TV show's current lack of swearing affect them? Well, I'll admit I do find it strange to see shows that contain the level of gore that they do clearly have a problem in allowing its characters to swear. Now please correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe it's a cultural thing. I mean, from the perspective of a Brit looking in, it does seem that American TV has a huge issue with censoring bad language, especially when compared to the UK. I mean, over here you can pretty much say whatever you want on TV after 9 PM as long as it isn't "see you next Tuesday," which seems to be one of the most hated swear words by the British public. Although, as mentioned, I try to keep swearing to a minimum on this channel, outside of YouTube and my work environment I do swear on a daily basis, and most of the time I do so without even realising. And the reason I do so is because I believe there's another fundamental reason why people swear, and that's because they are relaxed. Yes, it might sound weird, but hear me out. If I'm at my place of work I can't really swear because it's not appropriate, but when I finish and come back to my own place I can do what I want. In addition, I also find I swear more around my friends, because I've gotten to a stage whereby I know them so well that I don't have to worry about filtering my language. Compare this to someone who I've just met and I probably wouldn't start throwing in 4-letter words to conversations willy-nilly. So in a sense, having swearing within a show's dialogue can actually make conversations seem more realistic, because from my experience at least, I see that people seem to swear more amongst friends and those they can trust, and you'd expect Rick to have this kind of camaraderie with his group. Of course, this isn't always the case. Some people simply may not like swearing at all, and those who've been raised in different cultures and different economic backgrounds may also have different opinions. However, when I witness swearing in the Walking Dead comics or Telltale's games, I can't help but notice the conversations that play out appear to be more realistic and more human to me. Well, okay, this is all great, Josh, but what exactly are you trying to say? Well, the point I'm trying to make is that the moments in which Rick and Nick have both sworn have instantly stirred up emotions within me, making me react in an excited and also nervous manner. I'm certainly not naive enough to think that The Walking Dead as a show would really benefit a huge amount from having characters curse every couple of sentences. However, as illustrated by Rick's season 4 finale line, one swear word can turn a potential badass moment into a complete badass moment. It can also make conversations seem more real and human and help portray characters at their most vulnerable. I am opposed to the constant overuse of bad language, as it can seem a bit forced and unnecessary, but the moments in which The Walking Dead and Fear have snuck in some uses of the word fuck into its script have been some of the most raw moments so far, and I sometimes just wish the TV show would take a leaf out of the comics and the video games books and make swearing just a bit more of a common occurrence. So there you go, that's my views on The Walking Dead and swearing. Yes, I know this was a bit of a random video, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and hopefully you weren't left wondering what on earth I was talking about. Anyway, please let me know your thoughts below in the comments, good or bad, and as always, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.